Good. Good evening, everyone. It's April 2nd. Time is 6 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Also like to welcome Councillor Burton on Zoom tonight and Craig Warden, as well as Gord McKibben. Sorry, Gord. Said hi to you when you came in and then I got stage fright. All right. 2 is approval of the agenda. Motion reads that the agenda for the council meeting of Tuesday, April 2nd be approved as presented. Can I have a mover and seconder? Thank you, Councillor Lockett. And Councillor McConnell. I gotta switch those names. Thank you. One of those, all in favor?
I guess.
Oh, thank you all. Good. Any declaration of interest tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on. There's no presentations and there's no delegations. So we're going to move right to approval of council minutes from the previous meeting. Motion is council minutes dated March 18th, 2024 be accepted as presented. Moved by Councillor Kirkby and Councillor Campbell. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Item 7 is communications of petitions, which there are none this evening. 8 is consent reports. Is there any items we'd like to see pulled from the information package? Councillor Kirkby?
Yes, I'd like to pull out number 7, Township of Amherst, operational budget funding.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor McConnell?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Number 2 in correspondence from Augusta Township. In particular, the amendment number 4 to the official plan of the Township of Augusta, and reading through that, being it so close to the town of Prescott, we are referenced a number of times. I think it would behoove us to take a little more in-depth look at that and just make sure that we're in agreement with everything there, that we understand what they have in mind. I know we've referenced it many times over the last few years, and housing isn't necessarily housing. It depends on how it's done, how it relates to Prescott, and I think it would be a good idea if we had maybe a discussion on that and everybody got the opportunity to read it once again.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll bring that for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. So I'm going to read the motion that all items listed on the consent report section minus the 2 that we pulled out be accepted as presented. Mover and seconder. Councillor Campbell, Councillor Lockett, all in favor? Great, thank you. There are no committee reports this evening. The mayor's report. So a real busy last couple of weeks for the town of Prescott, and the next couple of weeks as well. It's going to be busy. So 2 weeks ago we had the trade show at the Leo Boyven Arena. Very well done. Lots of good vendors there. Lots of traffic. I noticed today that Ontario approved and Dave Annabelle donated almost $1,700 to the SPCA. So that was admission fees that they took in. So that's good for everybody, especially the SPCA. Also last weekend, member of Provincial Parliament, Steve Clark, had his handshakes and pancakes at the South Grenville High School. It was bad weather, but there was a good turnout there, and the high school always does a great job of catering and good for the kids, and the chef does a great job there. This weekend, as everyone knows, we had a big hockey weekend. Councillor Kirkby had his team go right to the finals, so that was good. Granted, it's a finals. Finals are still finals, but they had a good showing. That was a good turnout for the first Leo tournament back in Prescott for the last 5 years. It was packed. There was crowds there all weekend, and very good reports on that. So that was excellent, and everyone was well behaved. We also have a big tournament this weekend. Girls Inc. is having a tournament this weekend. And then next weekend, the figure skating club is having a big skating competition. So 2 more busy weekends for our new arena, which is great. And I think that's all I've got. So I'm going to give an opportunity to go around the table. Maybe we'll start with Councillor Burton, since she's so comfy over there. If she unmutes it.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, official birthday Mayor Shankar. Most of you know that it was Mayor Shankar's birthday yesterday, and when it was my birthday, he said all meeting long, birthday Burton. So tonight is your night, Mayor Shankar. So happy birthday. Hope you had a great weekend as well. So incredible weekend at our ACCC, and congratulations to all the teams and the tournament committee, staff, and volunteers. They worked their hearts out. Major accomplishments. There's a booking at the Leo every single day in April, which is fabulous. At the Leo, there's pickleball, private bookings, birthdays, team gatherings, badminton, indoor soccer. Like you mentioned, birthday Mayor Shankar. There's Girls Incorporated hockey tournament this weekend. Then we got some school hockey on the 10th. The Leo, there is a model train show, which would be fabulous to see. That's going to be a lot of work for those model train enthusiasts to get everything together. And April 13th, we got Skate Ontario competition. April 17th, we got South Grenville Minor Hockey banquet at the Leo. On the 18th, Battle of the Seaway at our ACCC. Fundraiser tournament for mental health. It's going to be on April 20th. And the Community Cleanup Day, which I encourage everybody to participate. It's a fun way to help clean up our community. And lots of fun activities that day for the whole family to participate. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Councillor, what day is that community cleanup?
Sorry, April 20th is the community cleanup.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, birthday Mayor Shankar.
My own fault. Hey, Councillor Campbell.
I'm in conflict being here. I'm supposed to be at a fire admin meeting as well, so I will get information from that meeting and report back next time. It's just because of the holiday. The eclipse is coming on April 8th, Monday, and I've been doing a lot of presentations at schools with my other life, but to let people know that the event actually starts at 2:10 p.m. with the first contact, the moon crossing the sun. But the total eclipse will start at 3:24 p.m., but it only lasts 2 minutes and 47 seconds. So you gotta be ready. You can't just look at the sun, you gotta get the special glasses. So make sure you don't hurt your eyes. And the whole event will end at 4:35 p.m. I was just inquiring if Prescott's posting anything, or if we're worried about scads of people coming down and parking on our streets, but if we've got that under control, then.
I think that's a mystery. We don't know who's coming and who's not coming, right?
Would there be parking signs though, like, park here or anything? Just let them be.
That's the last 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
In any case, at Blockhouse Island in Brockville, they're having a big day of it. So from 11 to 5, Blockhouse Island, if there's lots of activities for kids. They are also partnering with the RCAF because it's their 100th anniversary, Royal Canadian Air Force. So 11 to 5 at Blockhouse Island.
Thank you. Councillor Kirkby.
Yeah, so thank you through you, Mayor Shankar. I also attended the trade show down in Prescott, spent a couple hours each day there, hanging out at the booth, lots of traffic. some of the operations report is work continues on the amphitheater, getting the greenhouse ready for seedlings, street sweeping. Not much since I've been here last, well, there's quite a bit, but what I really wanted to note was I also attended the Leo Boyven Showcase as a coach. It was Thursday, we actually won the league championship and then lost all 4 games in the showcase, but you can't win them all. So we'll go from there. But I just wanted to say how spotless the rink was every day. You know, the tournament started at 9:30 and it was like it was when you first came in Friday. You know, everything was just shining. Throughout the day, I never seen a garbage overflowing. Sometimes because you're a counselor, people come right to you with instant problems like the toilet's overflowing or blah, blah, blah. And the staff was quick to respond and fix them issues. I mean, all weekend, they did an excellent job. I seen some of our salary staff volunteering in the canteen and in other positions throughout the weekend, which is great to see. There was well over 3,000 people that came through the doors over the course of the weekend. So just to give you kind of a perspective, lots of positive feedback on the rink, on the whole setup of the tournament. You know, just a great weekend, and it was a great chance to showcase Prescott and Leo Boyven Showcase, and we definitely did that and succeeded. And there's always things to work on, but that's just how things go when they're that big. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. So on March 26th, I attended a St. Lawrence Lodge meeting. We had a report from Trevor Dean, who is the Director of Support Services at the Lodge. And he was very happy to report that the HVAC system is finally going in at the Lodge. It'll be in this month. It's not going to take that long once it gets started, so it may even be started now. The facility is 25 years old, so this is something that they're very looking very forward to. They also have a residents committee that they talked about a bit, and something that I was surprised to hear. They also have a pleasurable dining committee, where the residents put in and they decide, you know, how they can make their dining more pleasurable. So that was pretty positive. On the 28th of March, the Leeds, Grenville and Lanark Health Board voted, and I'm sure this has all been in the media and everybody has seen this, but they voted to support the intent to merge with Kingston, Frontenac, Lennox, Addington, and Prince Edward Public Health. As basically has been mandated by the government. So right now, the government has decided that they would help fund any consultations that you had to have and stuff. And since they're one of the first groups to do it, hopefully they'll be able to get some of these costs covered. And I also attended the Leo tournament, and just the same as Justin says, there's always lots of people that come up and say negative things, but this weekend was just a positive all the way around. So same kudos to the staff for such a well done job.
Thank you. Councillor McConnell.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. A question, if I might, was the first committee that you mentioned there from St. Lawrence Lodge?
Yes. That was the St. Lawrence Lodge Committee.
Okay,
And the other one is the Lanark and Leeds and Grenville Board of Health.
okay, well, the
Residents.
Residents.
resident.
Oh, that.
Yeah, you're new to the board and you might not be aware of it, but that's composed partially of relatives of people who were in there.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's really informative because unfortunately, a lot of people, when they get in there, either don't have the ability to speak up for themselves, or what I've heard is they're afraid to speak up for
Right.
themselves. And this gives the relatives that visit these people and see what happens, the opportunity for input, and it's an excellent committee.
And some of the actual residents are on the committee
Yes.
too. So that
Yes.
was, Yeah, it was very interesting.
Yeah.
It was a good read.
Yeah. I'd also like to congratulate the town, the organizers and the players at the tournament this weekend. It was really nice to see that tournament back in town and, for many, many years ahead. I had the opportunity to attend the, Committee of Adjustment meeting, a week ago, Monday night, I believe it was. I attended for a couple of reasons. One reason was when I was out walking, I noticed a sign. Mary would have seen the same sign traveling the same route on Dibble Street West, the 500 block on the south side. And when I looked into it online, I found that they were applying for severance. It's a reasonably sized side yard, not quite wide enough for an official building lot, but close enough that it went through the Committee of Adjustment. I was interested to hear or see what the neighborhood reaction would be. Next door neighbor asked a couple of questions. There was no complaints. There was no criticism. It was approved. And that's a very good thing for the town because there's a piece of property that up until now was a yard that in all honesty wasn't well kept. I would say it was grass was cut maybe 2 or 3 weeks, but now it's going to have a house on it, and it's going to have a house on it that is not going to really cost the town anything because the services are already there on Dibble Street, which is a good thing for the people that own that house. They're going to have some extra money in their pocket. It's a good thing for the town. We're going to have extra assessment. It's a good thing all the way around. Contractors win, real estate wins, everybody comes out ahead. And the reason I bring this up now is because it is very relevant to a project that I've been working on for the last few weeks and I intend to bring forth to town council next meeting. It's directly related to this. And I hope you'll find it interesting. The other reason I attended that meeting, unfortunately, was not such a good thing, and that was a application by Beck's Construction for a, well, I guess you would call it leniency on what they wanted to do. I'm sure you're all aware of Beck's Construction. They've been in that location for 2 generations now. Our bylaw control officer, Sean, pointed out when he was referring to the official plan that this was a light industrial property and the intention was that it become residential eventually. What Bex would like to do is build a storage facility on a portion of the property. And to my way of thinking, and I've mentioned this twice this term and last term as well, that if we're looking at residential in the not too distant future on the soccer field down there, it would make a lot more sense if Beck's Construction was residential as well and not industrial. It would be more advantage to whoever develops that lot. I bumped into Kenny a couple of weeks ago and broached the subject to him. And I was surprised to find that nobody on staff had ever mentioned it to him, despite this fact that this was up for a change in the usage. So I was very disappointed in that. I was also disappointed in the fact that Kenny expressed an interest in that possibility of either us exchanging that property for something that we might have in our South Industrial Park, if something mutually of interest could be found, but that had never been explored. So that was very disappointing, but the portion of the division of that property to provide a building lot was very encouraging. And I hope that we see more of that down the road. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Young?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. March 22nd, I attended the Township of Augusta Mayor's Breakfast and Mayor Shankar spoke. And it was really well attended. I think there were close to 100 people there. And there was a real spirit of collaboration, I think, between all of the municipalities, for sure. I attended the AGM for the BIA on March 26th, and we welcomed 3 new board members. And it was a really good highlight of what we did last year and what's to look forward to for this year. Tomorrow, there's a grand opening for Subway. So that we've been waiting for that for a while. So that's tomorrow. The ribbon cutting is at noon. And I just also wanted to say about the Leo Boyden Showcase, how well it went, and the partnership that our economic development department gave. They gave them some really cool knapsack giveaways for all of the participants.
Cool.
And it was just a really nice partnership to see. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you were there all weekend, eh, Dana?
Yeah, we had a tourism booth
Yeah.
set up to provide information to all the visitors that were through.
And I saw that we were giving away a gift bag. You must have had 200 names in there.
We did. We had a lot of entries. We're about to contact our winner tomorrow. I believe it's a young girl that came through. So I'm pretty excited about giving her her prize.
And that bag, Councillor Kirkby had a good way of describing that bag. You want to tell us how you did that?
At the trade show, the way you described our prize bag?
Yeah, so the bag that at the trade show was transparent, just like Prescott's town council. That was my punchline.
And he was using that line.
Is that line?
I guess you were too busy this week.
Groans.
No, I got some groans and some laughs and some stares. I made just one last thing on the Leo Boyden Showcase. I forgot all the volunteers, and there was a huge collaboration between the town and the committee. So thank you for everybody that helped.
Oh, yeah. It'd be good to hear the numbers. Like you said, 3,000 people. That's great. We must have done some fabulous numbers.
There was a ton of sponsorship. I would say it was double the
Really?
sponsorship support than what we've had in the last 5 Leo Boyden showcases. Big,
Back in town.
big, yep, back in Prescott.
All right, thanks, everyone. We're gonna go on to staff reports. Now we have 4 staff reports, starting with 12.1, which is staff report 25-2024. The 2024-27 strategic plan, action plan. This report is from Matthew Armstrong. Matthew, is there a mover and seconder for this? Or is it a traditional? Okay. So I'll get a mover and seconder, and then we'll have him present it. Councillor Burton and Councillor Kirkby. Matthew, it's yours.
Thank you very much. So following the passage of the strategic plan at the last meeting, we started creating the action plan out of that. So really taking each of the priorities, objectives, strategies, and then providing either some timelines, who would be leading it from a staff perspective, who would be supporting it, as well as what financial resources, if they've already been committed, whether they're known, unknown, or being covered by the operational budget. So one of the things that we did is kind of number them so it's a little bit easier to find. So priority 1 being progress, development, and sustainable growth opportunities. I just started going through each of the objectives. So fairly extensive list. We fed in all of the projects that were either on the draft project list or been previously approved through the initiatives or project in previous years. And then also to look at any initiatives that we're also undertaking. So fairly exhaustive list. I want to make it clear that this is a live document. We would be continually adding things to it, modifying, updating, that sort of thing as this moves forward. And then certainly, so if there's something missing on it tonight, then it will be in the next iteration of it as we go forward. As we continue to make decisions and undertake projects and initiatives, those get added to the list if they fit under the strategic plan, and many of them do, obviously. And then we'll continue doing that. We also wish to bring it back to council every 4 months with the status of each item, understanding, the progress that we're making, if there's any roadblocks that we're hitting, or if in review of the new items and those that have been completed. So wanted to really get some feedback on this initial action plan and then see how we can move it forward from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Armstrong? Councillor Campbell?
Through you, Mayor Shankar. Great work. It's a lot of work. This is what I was not understanding, that this was going to happen, but then I realized last meeting when I asked that this action plan will be coming out, so quite pleased with it. Can I ask about adding a few things and see if they're already in there? I didn't see them, but.
Sure.
Okay, so under safety, work with community organizations to help with mental health use issues.
I believe that, and maybe when we get to our first go through, is that we actually bring the community health and safety and well-being plan and have a thorough review of that, or we could even do it before then. That is one of the initiatives, is enacting that plan, and in there, it talks about mental health issues, it talks about drug issues, a number of community safety items. So I think it's captured in there under that particular initiative and strategy. But I think it would also be helpful for council to actually take a look at that plan and how we're going to roll it out. So if you're okay with it being in that line, and between maybe either April or May, we'll bring back that plan and talk a little bit about the specifics of it. And then if we want to add items in here to flush it out a little bit, then we're going to have to do so.
Okay, what was the title of that plan?
It's the community health, safety, health and well-being plan, community safety plan, community safety, health and well-being.
Page 18.
Something along that. One of those plans, to send it out to council later this week, and then also bring it back to council for a fulsome discussion on it.
Okay, thank you. And then my thought about either researching in-town bus transportation or looking at it or seeing if it could happen. Is that something, can you put a word in front, like research it or?
It wasn't one of the ones that came to the top, but if council wishes to add it, then certainly.
Okay.
I think from my perspective, I know already that we're looking at anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 that wouldn't be funded.
It's just something for the future, like to look into, maybe 2 years down the road, or I just don't want it to be lost, that's all.
How do you propose we pay for that? I think that's the big issue, whether it's now or 2 years from now, where are we going to get 200?
Well, my idea was to link up with the route that the river route takes, but just have a few extra stops. But
Well, I think-
in town, you'd pay $2 rather than $5 kind of thing. Because it goes up to Giant Tiger, it could go to the arena. Just a few extra blocks in the town so that people, seniors that are living down in the apartments could get up to the grocery store and stuff, or at least Giant
They
Tiger.
can now.
$5 though.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm just saying.
But if you have an action plan towards it, like, but I just don't see the viability of a in-town transit system. It's too small.
But could it be looked at? Or are we just dishing it, trashing it?
Well, I mean, how much more do you want to look at it?
Okay, I'll bring it back when we review it every 4 months.
Sure.
And then I'm on the police services board, and we were starting to talk about they provide different educational strategies for different issues. And we started to talk about an educational strategy for crosswalk safety in concurrence with the police services. So I don't know if that's part of our plan or if it's part of their plan.
Okay, so I think that is covered on
18?
Yeah, it's 18 to E1. So priority to objective 3, strategy E1, providing residents with strategies to reduce their personal risks through simple safety measures. In terms of PSB, we have sent out social media. We sent it out exactly how to use the crosswalks in last year's final tax bills. So I think besides repeating those messages, we've done what we can from that perspective.
I'm just hoping in future that we could have a whole, I don't know what the word is, but not a strategy, but that the whole town understands, like Brockville, they'll stop, here they don't stop. So somewhere along the line, there's got to be some kind of overall developing,
I'm sure there's the same amount of people that don't stop in Prescott, and don't stop in Brockville or Toronto or Ottawa. I don't think it's just single to Prescott, not stopping. Are we putting new lights? Are we getting new arms for the signs?
Yes.
I thought I saw that 7 new arms.
Yeah.
And 3 poles. So I've had complaints that people are feeling like they're having a stroke from the lights. So either you see the lights or you don't see the lights. If someone's seen them from 4 blocks away and complaining to me that, oh, I feel like I'm gonna have a stroke. Well, then at least you see the lights.
yeah, no, it's not just the lights, it's the overall, I'm trying to think of the word, but it's the overall, milieu of the town. Like I've noticed a difference since we put up those lights that people actually stop at crosswalks that don't have lights. So we're getting there, but I think it could be pushed more. Anyway, if it's in E1, that's great.
Can I throw something in on that? I haven't talked about it right now, but we added the voice thing. When did we do that, Matthew?
I believe it was when we switched over, it was a couple months after.
So how long ago?
Say greater than a year.
I heard them for the first time last week. And when I heard, and I never push the button. I usually just wait till there's nobody coming and walk. I don't feel like stopping traffic if they don't have to stop, And I'm not that slow. Me and the dog can get across, but I was standing in front of the Royal Bank waiting for the dog to catch up, and somebody hit the button and I actually heard it, and it was lights are flashing, I think, or something like that. But and I thought, geez, I've stood here, I don't know how many times, and I've never heard that. It's not very loud, and it is in English. And I've noticed down street, especially this weekend, we've had a lot of people who are not English in downtown Prescott, and you hear all kinds of languages. Brockville's is a chirping bird, and you can hear it half a block down the street. I'm wondering why we actually went to a voice rather than a sound.
So the chirping birds that you refer to are actually on the traffic lights and are appropriate for that. The voice is for this type of installation where you have the flashing lights.
Is there a volume control or something on it?
I have to be honest, I've never had an issue hearing it. But we can certainly take a look.
Thank you.
Can I just add one thing?
Mhm.
Just to add on to Mary, I don't think it's just the drivers that need to be educated. I think the walkers, because the other day, there was a person that had their foot on the sidewalk, reached back and touched and expected to go across, but the cars were right there. So they have to have some responsibility also. So I don't think it's just the drivers, because I have not seen a person not stop or go through. So I've seen the opposite, but I'm not on foot all the time. So I think it's just an all-around education.
Yeah.
But some responsibility has to be on the person themselves, I think.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
jaywalking and, yeah.
Having said that, OPP did a blitz in front of the golf club a couple weeks ago for speeding. And when I looked on social media, they said because of the complaints that they were getting from the town, and actually someone who got a ticket said the OPP officer said the mayor told them to start handing out tickets. I'm like, great, thanks, I get blamed. But it's true, like we get people complaining about speeding. And then when we do a blitz, then they complain about tickets. So likely it's going to happen in the future. In the next PSB meeting, we'll mention it to the commander. Do a blitz on or at least just park your car in front of those crosswalks, you know, the police officer's car, so that they see it. And they pay attention. I know when I see a police car, I slow down or I make sure I'm doing everything right, using my signal. Counselor Kirkby?
Through you, Mayor Shankar. Mary, you said you're on the Police Services Board, right? Maybe during like Canada Day and some of them other functions that the town has, the police could come down and have a little booth to talk about crosswalk safety or something like that. Might not be a bad opportunity to engage with people or children or something like that.
Yeah, they're usually easy to talk to. All right, any more questions for Mr. Armstrong? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. 12.2 is staff report 26-2024, the outdoor seasonal sidewalk patio bylaw. This report would be from our Economic Development Officer, Dana Valentine. I'm going to read the recommendation that council directs staff to bring forward an outdoor seasonal sidewalk patio bylaw for consideration at the council meeting of April 15th, 2024, to establish and regulate the use of sidewalks and boulevards for outdoor seasonal sidewalk patios within the town of Prescott downtown core zone. Mover and seconder for discussion. Councillor Kirkby, Councillor Burton. Ms. Valentine?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Through you to council. We have a report before you tonight for a recommendation to install or introduce for the first time to downtown Prescott some restaurant seasonal patios. We've had a number of requests from restaurants to date that have expressed interest in the patios, especially after our installation of the street patios last year. A lot of restaurateurs were interested in having one available for more dedicated service. So this is what the purpose of this bylaw would be for, would be to permit businesses, restaurants specifically, to have a portion of the sidewalk space, lease a portion of it. There would be an associated fee for that, to accommodate a private patio. And we would also retain public access on the sidewalk, so we wouldn't have to reroute the sidewalk to the parking spaces. There would be no parking spaces decommissioned as part of this. We've gone through and assessed the potential locations and are confident that they can accommodate both the patio as well as the public walkway without reducing any parking spaces. So we're very pleased to see that. We have applied for funding and are just awaiting a quote for some barriers that would be utilized to provide a buffer between the sidewalk and the parking spaces. And then we have operations has come up with a really good interior barrier design that would be a little less, doesn't need to be quite as structurally sound as the exterior one. So we think from a cost standpoint, we're hopeful that we can, will be approved for some My Main Street funding, which would offset the cost of the patio fencing entirely. Our proposal is that the town would maintain responsibility for the installation and purchase of the barrier fencing for a number of reasons. From a public safety standpoint, so that we can ensure that the fencing meets the required standards to provide the support, as well as just to achieve the desired aesthetic for the downtown as well. We're really trying to achieve a consistent design in anything that we do, and we felt this would be a better approach because we can have a little bit more control over that design. And then the restaurants themselves would be responsible for all interior furnishings, of course, to be approved in advance by the town, and would be responsible for the maintenance and daily cleaning of that space as well. That would not fall to the town. And what we would be proposing for this would be fee-wise would be a monthly fee paid by the business of $75 a month. The season would run essentially from May to October. And they, again, as I said, would be responsible for maintaining cleanliness and providing all furnishings for the patio spaces. And as far as the financial implications are concerned, we've estimated about $750 to $2,500 per patio. And you're looking at the difference between the wood to the wrought iron fencing there. And as I mentioned, we're hopeful that we can tap into My Main Street to offset the funding costs. And then I have provided, there's a copy of the draft bylaw that's been prepared for council review, and that's why you'll see we're not recommending adoption of this bylaw tonight. We'd like to give council a couple of weeks to review it. And feel free, in the next couple of weeks, if you have any questions, I welcome them. Feel free to reach out to me directly. And then hopefully if council is on board, we would see this be approved at the April 15th meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Valentine.
Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Valentine? Councillor Kirkby?
Through you, Mayor Shankar. Dana, if the town provides the barriers, okay, and one of the establishments has some kind of incident that damages the barriers, who does that cost?
They would be responsible for any damages to the barriers if they get damaged as a result of the restaurant operations, neglect in their duty. And we would build that into, there will also be an agreement that would be attached as well to this.
If I may, I have a couple, sorry. Second one, Dana, can any restaurant apply for this?
If they have the appropriate space, yes. I think, we would like to have a conversation ahead of time, go take a look at the space and see if it can accommodate it. I honestly, I can't think of any examples right now that wouldn't.
I wonder if Bobby's wouldn't, like, if there's.
Bobby's,
Right,
actually, it's a good example.
Because of their
Very narrow
location.
sidewalk, yes. Yeah, so that would be something that maybe we would try to work with them because they do have some private property that they use for parking. And see if we could find another accommodation, or at that point, we would come back to council with a request to actually decommission a parking space if a restaurant patio can't fit within the sidewalk space. And we have built that into this, that provision, but clearly, it clearly states that that requires approval of council above and beyond the bylaw, if anyone is requesting that.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Shankar. I just wanted to note the question. I wanted to note that, the accessibility, we didn't talk that, but that's going to be maintained, just so everybody that's watching, that will be maintained with the two barriers, right? And there's some upgrades to the sidewalks, so it's also mentioned. But the other question I have is, as far as the patio itself is, I guess you kind of mentioned it here. Would the patios in that space be smoke-free or stuff like that? Like, would there be? Because currently, right, there's a lot of people that stand outside of, I think of O'Haffey's.
15 feet. isn't it?
Yeah, I think of O'Haffey's, right, and stuff like that, who already have a patio, by the way, but I'm just wondering, will that be something that's also enforced on the patios?
Absolutely, yeah. There will be no smoking or vaping permitted.
Because it's eating too, right?
Yeah.
Can't.
I have a couple.
Yep.
Through you, Mayor Shankar. So Dana, a couple of questions. Would the furniture stay out like overnight all through the whole 6 months?
I propose that the furnishings be allowed to remain, but there are provisions in there that everything has to be secured, just like our patio furnishings were. We left them throughout the season, but they were actually anchored and secured. Any umbrellas would have to be closed at night to reduce any potential of blowaway, and it would very clearly spell out what those requirements are. Any signage, portable signage, would have to be removed at the end of every business day and put back out. Basically, anything that has a chance of blowing away or falling down when the business is closed would have to be removed.
Okay, and so $75, if it's going to cost between $750 and $2,500, and I'm sure it's going to be on the higher side of $750, is it something that we're hoping if we do it this year, we're going to be able to keep it for years?
Absolutely. So these fences, the barriers would last for several years. Their lifespan, I would estimate at least 10 years or more. So we would very quickly recoup the cost of that initial cost of having to provide.
Because $75 a month isn't going to put a dent in it.
No, and we did a lot of research, and it really is, it was surprisingly all over the board when it came to what area municipalities are charging. For example, Brockville only charges $100 flat fee. at the beginning of the season and that's it. And they provide all the barriers for the restaurants, very similar situation to us. That was a COVID initiative and they've never raised their fees since then. I've also seen other municipalities that charge a much higher rate, anywhere between $12 to $2,000 a season. Some charge per square foot for the sidewalk, as well as any parking spaces that need to be decommissioned. It can be extremely expensive in a lot of areas. Prince Edward would be one I found that was quite high. So we really tried to maintain, be competitive as we could, given our size.
Thank you.
I do have a question, Ms. Valentine. Are these barriers, are they secured into the ground?
They will be, yes.
Good.
They'll be anchored to the sidewalk.
Just don't want them to end up in the middle of the road. Ms. Campbell?
I didn't read through the type of furnishings, coverings, lighting, et cetera, but will they have their own garbage receptacles and be responsible for that garbage?
Not on so the serving staff will be responsible for clearing garbage from the tables and disposing of everything as they're turning tables over and then doing an end of day cleanup of that entire site. But we wouldn't want to see garbage receptacles out there. They would be responsible to dispose of it in their interior ones.
Right.
We would still have the public ones, and it's actually very clearly spelled out here that no refuse produced by the operation is to be disposed of in public waste receptacles.
And then through you, Mayor Shankar again. Now I've forgotten. Oh, the sidewalks. So we did talk about this, that there are some sidewalks that, for example, down near some people's business near Edward Street, that the sidewalks that are closest to the road are quite jumbled and cracked, and you have to pick your way through them. So would the town be repaving those portions around these patios?
So there will be some areas. I had a good tour with Bob Dixon, and we went around and took a look at the potential sites, looked at those concerns. And operations staff is certainly prepared to address any sort of accessibility concerns. There's some areas that may need to be leveled a little bit and brought up to level with the rest of the sidewalk, but we're very cognizant of some of those modifications that will have to be made. And again, that is a one-time thing. Once it's done, it's just going to make the sidewalk more accessible for everyone in the future, whether they're using it during the winter or summer. And again, we would eventually recoup that cost through the annual fee that we're charging to businesses.
Would it be easier to charge for a season then, rather than trying to get monthly?
I think it would, but we were concerned that it might, not every restaurant may necessarily be prepared to launch on May 1st. So we thought it might be easier to go with a monthly charge because, maybe some businesses aren't ready to start until June or don't have a desire to open their patio until June. A lot of restaurants may not necessarily have their full cohort of staff until schools and things let out. So they may want to ramp their patio up in the later June, July, August, and maybe don't want to continue it into September, October. So we really just wanted to provide for that flexibility.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Young?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Just with respect to the fees, I know there was some concern when we were talking about pop-ups and the fact that they weren't paying property taxes and brick and mortar were under the gun for more. Would this be an opportunity perhaps to not charge a fee to the brick and mortar restaurants? Just throwing that out there.
I think it would be certainly even if we did it for an introductory basis. I really like that idea, and I have seen a lot of other municipalities do that for the first year. They may waive the fee just to provide for, to make it more manageable for restaurants, because they are also going to have a lot of initial startup costs too, and furnishings and the like. So once they're established and have these things and can start, generating some revenues to pay those off, maybe in year 2, if the actual fee started, that might be another approach council could consider.
I think if we're looking at it, if it's $1,500 and they're paying $75, they're already getting a good deal. Right?
Mhm.
We could easily say, if you want a patio, you gotta pay for it yourself. This is what you gotta do. So we're taking the initial hit.
Oh, yeah, no,
Right.
I agree. I was just thinking about
Mhm.
the other concerns that we have.
Where are we in? Go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Schenker. I'm just, I understand what you're saying about, reluctance of some people to maybe go into September, October or start. But if you're gonna be drilling these stanchions into the sidewalk and then, oh no, they don't want them for October, so then you'll be taking them away and I don't know, maybe the first year, but I really think we should establish a seasonal fee. And if they don't do October, then they've paid for it and take them away.
And that's their,
Yeah.
loss if they
Yeah.
choose not to. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's gonna be a lot of
It's a good point.
building and taking away and.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Councilor Burton, anything? You good?
I'm good, thank you. I did have a couple questions, but they were answered during everybody else's question period. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions for Ms. Valentine? Is it Councilor Young, do you want to amend this or change it, or are you okay with it? Or was this a suggestion?
Yeah, it was just a consideration.
All right, I'm gonna call the question. All those in favor?
What are we voting on?
I thought we were,
I'll read it again.
This is a
I
review.
thought we were bringing it to that.
The council directs staff to bring forward an outdoor seasonal sidewalk patio bylaw for consideration at the council meeting of April 15th, 2024, to establish and regulate the use of sidewalks and boulevards for outdoor seasonal sidewalk patios within the town of Prescott downtown core. So we're creating a bylaw.
To come back in another meeting.
All in favor? Against? Carried. All right, next one is item 12.3, staff report 27-2024. Pop-ups fee waiver request by Big Brothers Big Sisters. This report is also from our Act Dev officer, Dana Valentine. I'm just going to read the recommendation and I'll read it again. The council approves a partial Prescott pop-ups fee waiver request for 2 food trucks in the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization in support of shared proceeds partnership with the South Granville Food Bank. And I'm just going to move her in a seconder so we can discuss. Councillor Kirkby, Councillor Young. Ms. Valentine, you've got the floor.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar, for you to council. We have a report before you tonight. We received an interesting proposal from Big Brothers and Big Sisters organization a few weeks ago. They've partnered with the South Granville Food Bank, or are considering a partnership to operate a food truck, 2 food trucks actually. Big Brothers and Big Sisters owns and operates a few food trucks as part of their Ribfest events and some other traveling events that they attend as a fundraiser for their organizational programs that certainly benefit Prescott. And they've partnered with the South Granville Food Bank and have reached out to the town with an application to operate 2 food trucks at the pop-up site for the 2024 season. However, they have requested a fee waiver for their operations, citing that the proceeds shared between the 2 organizations will be invested directly back into Prescott through South Granville Food Bank programming and through Big Brothers and Big Sisters programming. The current fee for the pop-ups is $300 a month for food trucks. That covers power and water. Those are 2 provisions and utilities that we do provide to them. So there was a concern in providing a full out fee waiver to the applicant. Just given the fact that we have some hard costs there that just really whatsoever. And I thought it was important to at least be covering our basic costs to accommodate the food trucks. This is something that we gave a lot of consideration to. I can certainly see both sides of this. I think, what they're doing certainly benefits the community, and the food trucks themselves would be a wonderful addition to the pop-ups. So I've provided just a bit of a summary of what they would be serving. The first food truck specializes in mini donuts, churros, deep fried Mars bars, fries, poutine, hot dogs, and are looking at a few other items. Second food truck specializes in snow cone slushies and drinks. So we don't currently, the only overlapping item here at the moment would be the French fries with the existing food truck, Judy's Wooden Spoon. We also reached out to Big Brothers Big Sisters to ask if they would entertain eliminating some items just to ensure that there isn't a lot of conflict happening with that overlap, and they were very open to that, are more than willing to adjust their menu accordingly to ensure that they aren't in, too much competition. And we currently don't have a food vendor offering any sort of beverages at the moment. It is very limited what we have aside from pop available at the Wooden Spoon. So this would be, again, a specialty snow cone slushies that I think would certainly be a popular item. I have no doubt that these food trucks would certainly attract a wide variety of visitors. And I think what they're doing certainly benefits the community. And I think if we cover our costs at minimum, then we would be prepared to waive the fees for the rest if council sees fit.
Thank you, Ms. Valentine. Questions for Ms. Valentine? I see Ms. Burton's got her hand up, so we'll start there.
Oh, thank you, Burton Mayor. Birthday Mayor.
Burton.
I was in birthday Burton, but anyways, I love this idea, Dana. I know through the organization that I'm working with now, their Big Brothers and Big Sisters are struggling. They're struggling for volunteers. And if we could help fundraise, maybe that would encourage other volunteers to come and step up and be a big brother or big sister. So I'm definitely in favor of this. And it's different kinds of food and beverages. So why not give it a go? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burton. Councillor Lockett.
Yeah, I like this organization. I like the food bank. It's not that. We do have organizations that have most of this food. We have the Lighthouse that's going to be serving, I don't know if they're going to serve slushies or not, but they've got ice cream, they've got pop. I'm not in favor of giving them a break, and I can't support them even being here for the same reasons I've said before. I think we have to support what we have, and I just can't support it.
Councillor McConnell.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. I'm really torn by this one. Big Brothers and Big Sisters is a really worthwhile organization for kids that need support, and it provides them. On the other hand, I was in private business for several decades. And quite frankly, that's the reason that I voted against the patios as well. It's my opinion that if you own the business, you should be paying for your own fencing. But in this particular case, they're asking, or at least staff is asking for us to give them a $1,250 break. And really, that's something that should come through our community grant situation. It's no different than what we have. We have all kinds of organizations coming to us in that case, and we give some, we don't give some. We have 2 food trucks there. I concur with Ruth here, who has also been in private business for many years. How many food trucks is enough? We've had several restaurants open down the street. I would like to help these people out. I'd be more inclined to help them out in the community grant portion of our thing, but like Ruth, I'm afraid I really I can't support this.
Thank you. Councillor Young?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. This is a really tough one for me too. Wondering, would they do just one truck and not two? Is that on the table at all, or?
I think they would certainly be open to that. And, you know, as I indicated, it is a priority. We don't want to create competition for existing vendors. And we were very clear that you need to stay away from ice cream, from sandwiches, from baked goods, because those are the primary things being served at the Lighthouse. We have lost the gelato truck. That is another aspect too. So our gelato truck is now gone. They've moved to another community. So at this point, we have the Judy's Wooden Spoon and River Vibes Picnics operating out of the Lighthouse. We also have Katarina's coffee shop is coming down for a very seasonal, like a short-term rental for a couple of weekends throughout August. And they will be doing cold drinks primarily, some baked goods, but again, staying very much away from anything that's being served at River Vibes, because that has been and that is something that we will ensure throughout. We certainly want to create a place for everyone down there and not create overlap, because there's only so much market there. But I certainly do agree this is definitely a tough one, and from, you know, but they seem more than open to making adjustments if need be, to be a better fit with the existing vendors.
Scannell?
Through you, Mayor Shankar. My concern is just setting a precedent. So we give it to these people, then next year Girls Inc. wants to come, or any organization. So I agree with Councillor McConnell about the community grant avenue. Yeah, we also give money to the food bank through the community grant. So it's kind of like we're giving them double if we offer this to Big Brothers, Big Sisters. That's my take on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scannell. Question, Ms. Valentine, I've written this down. I think precedent's already been set, though. Don't we give waive certain fees, like when we rent out the amphitheater, obviously to Folk Fest, right? Or if Shakespeare, we also give away, sometimes we give away like the Leo for free if they're putting money to the food bank, right? I think we did that one year with Ontario Proof.
I believe, but I will defer to Matthew on this one. I believe there has been a transition lately to try to funnel those type of requests through the community grant program versus just providing direct outright fee waivers.
So like the Fort Town Night Run and stuff like that.
So which can absolutely be an outcome of this is to send it to community grant. I think, you know, it was brought to council because we just finished the first intake. Second intake doesn't open until May 15th as opposed to June 15th, and potentially not a decision until July or August. So yeah, it certainly, you know, that's the preference, is to put everything through community grant. But, you know, due to the timing of this one, it was a little bit more difficult.
So the question would be for members of that committee, if this came through the community grants, would you have approved it for, is it $1,250 you said? It's probably right.
Well, that
50 versus 300.
As a donation or as a rent?
that would be what we would be donating as a cash rather than.
Yeah, like in kind, right?
Yeah.
Instead of them setting up the food trucks, you mean?
No. If they come to the community grants for funding towards paying for their food trucks. Do you know what I mean? So instead of paying us $300 a month, we're not giving them $1,500 to give back to us. A similar idea.
Yeah.
No.
Just to answer your question, they would be asking for in-kind support. That's how, we wouldn't be exchanging money back.
Right. So I mean, the act of us giving them 1,500, them giving us 1,500. It's, it would just be called income. But as your report says, it's not going to affect our budget because it's not in our budget, right? And it's going to cost us $50 a month, it looks like, for hydro.
Yeah, that's the basic cost. That's what it costs us to provide,
Mhm.
the hydro and water to each food truck. Above and beyond that would be pure revenues.
So yeah, so like, you know, I mean, that's one thing to keep in mind. Would we have done this for Big Brothers Big Sisters? And if we would, why can't we do it now? This question, that's quickly.
Through you, Mayor Shankar. Just a couple of things to note. One, I think we provide money to both Big Brothers and Big Sisters, along with the food bank through the community grant program now. My thing with the community grant program is a lot of the cases that come through there, the requests, don't compete with local businesses, i.e., right? South Grenville Minor Hockey is not setting up a chip stand down at the pop-ups, or, you know, there's different ways I look at that. When people talk community grants, that doesn't almost feel good to me, to be honest. I have a tough time with, I think they'll make their money. You know what I mean? For me, I think they'll make more than, you know, if we charge them the full rate, I'm sure they're willing to pay it. Now you'll make that in a good couple hours on a weekend, on a hot Saturday. You know, I think we have our Bruce Solar going down there, right? I mean, there's a pizza place. We're gonna have firewood pizza there, and Popolari's is across the road. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure why we're worried about what's going on at the lighthouse compared to the pop-ups when you can walk 50 feet and there's two pizzas. There's one at the pop-up and one at Popolari. So I think we need to be careful about where we limit products from being sold. Either we have no problem with selling pizza down there and we're good with Popolari's there, and we'll sell the same as the lighthouse at the pop-ups also, right? I don't think we should be providing any kind of protection because it's a slippery slope to get ourselves in. My personal feeling on this, and I'll speak from running a few events, and I have received different in-kind stuff, but I've also had to pay fees. Most recently, $600 for a liquor license, which, I mean, I made that back very quickly, right? So, you know, when you think about it, $300 a month really isn't that much. And I'm a huge supporter of the Prescott Food Bank and Big Brothers and Big Sisters, but my heart is definitely with the South Grenville Food Bank. In saying that, I think they should pay the same as Judy's Wooden Spoon and, you know, Cal's Chip Truck and, you know, anybody else that has a food truck in town. Thank you.
Through you, Mayor Shankar, I just need a clarification. So it's $300 per truck? Okay, thanks.
I just wanted to add on to something Dana said. Katrina's coming down there is a good fit. They're already an established business. They're just extending their business. It's the same with 426, once 426. They're already an established business in town and they're taking it one step further. That's me, what the pop-ups should be all about, not competition for somebody else. So guys, I just wanted to add that, but.
But don't you think a lot of that, like, is gonna be just at the spur of the moment while you're there, you're gonna buy something. You know, you're not necessarily, you're not deciding between going to O'Heafey's and going to the food truck.
I don't know.
Okay, one more?
Last one, if I may, just to touch on that, Ruth, you know, I think the pop-ups provides a good visible location for some places. One that comes to mind that I could not believe that never came down there was Port Alano, right? I mean, what a great opportunity to come down and be visible, you know, and in my opinion, a missed opportunity there. But, you know, that's kind of what the pop-ups also can provide besides, just a small business starting to grow to try to get traction is also for some of these businesses to get noticed in a more visible location. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Thank you,
your
Mayor
hand.
Shankar. I was just gonna add, if we do charge the $300, then they still have choice about whether to have one or two trucks, kind of thing. So I would be in favor of the $300 and not reducing the fee.
Sounds like the will of council is to not waive the fee.
And I think you all make very valid points, and I struggled with this one. This is one I can't lie and say I'm 100% in favor. There are a lot of factors that go into it, and it's, to Justin's point, they should be able to make $300 in an afternoon and in a heartbeat. Based on what they're selling, it will be a popular destination. And, I think it's important to provide opportunities for new startup businesses to incubate, because hopefully we can shift them into one of those brick and mortars at one point. And this has been a surprising outcome of the pop-ups, is the fact that it's turned into a great opportunity for existing businesses to gain more exposure. And I think it works very well together.
I think Councillor Campbell brought up a good point about precedent there, and if we were to give these two a break, then maybe Judy's Wooden Spoon wants a break, and maybe, the church wants to have a garage sale and they want us to waive the pop-up fee,
And who's to say Judy's Wooden Spoon can't say, hey, we're gonna start donating our proceeds.
Yeah.
That, it could,
Portion of our
could
part.
go, yeah.
Okay, so should we still call the question and vote it down, or here we go, look at it.
Or the question is on the table, so you do.
Okay, so we'll call the question. I'll read it again, just so everyone's clear. Council directs staff to bring forward an outdoor seasonal, nope, that's the wrong one. Council approves a partial Prescott pop-ups fee waiver request for 2 food trucks from the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization in support of a shared proceeds partnership with the South Granville Food Bank. All in favor? Against? Everyone? No, so doesn't carry. Thank you.
Did we already give them?
Yeah.
We did.
All right, this is the one you guys have been waiting for. Staff report 12.4, staff report 28-2024 bag tag fees. This report will come from our CAO. Oh, it's law. It's only for information. Matthew, it's all yours. Thought we get to vote on this today.
It's all council, whether they want to put forward a motion.
Okay.
So back in 2021, we switched from garbage bags to bag tags, and that was as a result of repeated complaints about the size and quality of the garbage bags. Bag tags, we did that transition in approximately March of 2022, and currently the price is $1.50 for a bag tag. That price, I don't think, has moved in the better part of a decade. And so still at that $1.50 price point. Many of the bags are actually sold by local vendors. We charge those vendors $1.40 and they turn around and sell it for $1.50. Or we sell them downstairs at the main office for $1.50. So at the council meeting of March 4th, 2024, it was asked that it be brought back for further discussion on bag tag fees in relation to the budget. And that's what we're looking at this evening. So I did a little bit of analysis between 2019 and the 2024 budget. And so including the all collection, disposable, recycling waste, in 2019, it was costing us about $258,000. And we were collecting about 192 through bags at that point, large item pickup, as well as we receive an amount from the government for 50% of the recycling costs that we incur. So a total of a net $66,000 that was being supported through tax revenue. When we get to 2023, that same bag tag amount really hasn't changed all that much, even though that the amount of garbage has increased. And so again, about 155,000 bag tags. Large item pickup has increased a little bit, and the diversion has increased quite a bit. So we're now netting about 208,000 in revenue, but costs have gone up to 340,000. And so we're now supporting waste and recycling by 132,000 from the tax base. And then for 2024, again, not really any change. If we don't change anything because of the price of the bag tags, but costs will continue to increase as per our contract. And so then we're supporting by about 145,000. So just taking a look at what the price sensitivity looks like. So if nothing is done, you leave it at $1.50, then obviously no impact. If you increase it by 25% annually, that would generate another 27,500. But if we were to institute it at May 1st, then you're only going to get about 18,300 this year. Then it kind of goes all the way up from $1.50 to $2.50. So we took a look at some other municipalities, and most everyone is in the $2 to $2.50 range. In Leeds and Grenville, we did learn from, I think it was Leeds and Thousand Islands, that they are also at $2.50. And so again, that's kind of where we're looking. We're certainly on the low end. Wolford is $1 per bag tag, but they don't receive curbside pickup. So that's why the difference between Merrickville and Wolford. So we thought we would provide some comparators there, and certainly an understanding of what the impact would be. So then we went ahead and also did a calculation. If you increased the bag tag by 25%, that's an additional 18,000. You would
25 cents.
Sorry, 25 cents. What did I say?
25%.
Okay, close, but not quite. 25 cents. And then it would be 18,300. And then it slowly starts to decrease. The municipal tax rate increase as well as the overall increase. So we're happy to answer any questions there might be. And certainly what we would expect is the price of bag tags go up, that the either people find ways to reduce, reuse, and recycle, or put more into a single bag. We still have the limit of a weight limit that is not to be exceeded, regardless.
Councilor Berkby.
Through you, Mayor Shankar. This one's been a hot topic for me. I think when it first came, we were all sitting around council thinking 25 cents per bag tag would be a good number. I've been researching. I have all these ones that are on the report, but I also have some other ones that I'd like to bring up, which is Prince Edward County. It's $3. Quinte West is $3.25. North Grenville is $2.75 plus $1 for any leaf or yard bag that is put out. So they don't include that as a free item, which is another option. I think, when I looked, and I spent a lot of time looking through different municipalities, once you Google one, it brings up tons. But we are definitely on the low side, and I think we definitely have to start at the minimum of 50 cents of an increase. That's 10 tags per sheet. It takes you up to $20 per sheet. And I don't think that's a lot of money when you start looking at the other numbers. And it may also help with force people to be a little more wise about the packaging and composting and recycling versus just using the bag tag to get rid of a lot of that waste that's not being sorted currently. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Berkby. Councilor Campbell.
Through Shankar. As the bags get heavier and bigger and the garbage guys go around, can they try and pick it up and think, well, that's heavier than
100%.
their decision?
Yeah, it's their decision, and then they put a tag on the bag that says too heavy.
Oh, okay, all right.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilor McConnell.
For the sake of brevity, which I'm sure you'll find astounding, I'm just going to agree with Justin. $2
I agree.
ticket is, I
I
think, where we
agree.
should go.
All right. So I see a lot of nods around the table. Ms. Velkamp, are you able to conjure up a motion for us?
Yeah, I started drafting something through Mayor Shankar. I have that council direct staff to implement the garbage bag tag increase by 50%. I'm sorry. By 50 cents. The one thing I wasn't sure, did we want the implementation date?
May 1st.
May 1st, 2024?
Right. Okay, moved by Council Kirkby, seconded. Council Burton, all in favor? Carried, thank you.
No need to come back to this.
No, this is done. Okay. And that was that. Excellent. Okay, 13 is resolutions, which there are none. There's no bylaws today. We have 4 new business items. Councilor Kirkby, you got 15.1, Town of Lincoln, the urgent need for increasing funds to libraries and museums in Ontario.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Shaker. If I may have a second here, I lost my notes on this one.
Did you write down for?
Yeah, but I mean, it's pretty well written. I mean, so the resolution background here is on February 26, 2024, Council of the Corporation Town of Lincoln passed a motion regarding the urgent need for increased funding to libraries and museums in Ontario. The motion highlights the out-of-date data used to formulate provincial funding amounts for public libraries, as libraries offer a number of services, including distribution of knowledge and catering to diverse needs. They provide essential services to our communities. Public libraries in Ontario have not seen an increase in provincial funding for over 25 years. The motion requests that the provincial government increase funding to public libraries to address the community needs. The motion also speaks specifically to increasing funding for community museum operating grant, which is CMOG, as the funding has not been increased in over 15 years, as museums play a vital role in shaping and preserving the community's identity. Attached is the Town of Lincoln resolution. I won't read that. Urgent need of increased funding to libraries and museums in Ontario. Thank you.
Thank you. We doing anything with that? Okay.
Mayor Shankar, I have a draft resolution here that reads that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Prescott supports a resolution from the Town of Lincoln regarding requesting the provincial government to support increasing funding for public libraries and community museums, and that a copy of this resolution be sent to the Prime Minister, the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier, the Honourable Neil Lumsden, Minister of Tourism, Culture and Sport, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, and all municipalities in Leeds and Grenville.
Thank you. Moved by Councilor Kirkby, seconded by Councilor Campbell. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. All right, 15.2 is the Tay Valley Township Declaration of Climate Change Crisis. Councilor Campbell, this one's yours.
Yeah, so Corporation of the Tay Valley Township at its meeting on February 27th adopted the following resolution. It's all about climate change and how it jeopardizes the health and risks of extinction of millions of species worldwide. It harms the health and security of people through intense wildfires, flooding, storms, droughts. There's a large body of evidence that climate change points to very steep and permanent reductions we need in greenhouse gas emissions. And they have said that it is a crisis, which can be defined as a dangerous situation requiring immediate action. So I'm hoping that we can support the Tay Valley Township officially declares a climate change crisis for the purposes of naming, framing, and deepening our commitment in our climate action plan to protecting our local ecosystems, local economy, and our community from climate change. This resolution be revisited each term of council and within the first year of the new council. I don't know, obviously, hopefully we can support theirs, but can it be something that we can revisit as well on our council? Perhaps the
It
second.
says each term.
Yeah.
So the next term we could.
Okay. All right, I don't know if it has to be a separate,
Shankar, based on the resolution from Tay Valley Township, I had drafted a motion supporting
Mhm.
the motion from Tay Valley. I'm not quite sure if what Mr. Campbell is suggesting is a resolution specifically for the town of Prescott with the same kind of.
I think it's two different things, so I can bring that up at another point in time. The second that we would revisit it,
Each term of council.
yeah, but not tonight.
We've got a living document that we're gonna do every 4 months with climate change.
Okay, yeah, right, yeah.
So just one?
Yeah.
Just one.
Okay, so through you, Mayor Shankar, the draft resolution that I have reads that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Prescott supports the resolution from Tay Valley Township regarding a declaration of a climate change crisis, and that a copy of this resolution be sent to the Honorable Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister, the Honorable Doug Ford, Premier, the Honorable Stephen Guilbeault, Minister of Environment and Climate Change, the Honorable Andrea Kanjan, Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks, Steve Clark, Member of Provincial Parliament for Leeds, Granville, Thousand Islands, and Rideau Lakes, and all municipalities in Leeds and Granville.
Moved by Councillor Campbell, seconded. Seconded, anyone? Oh. Okay, no seconder. Motion defeated. All right, the next one is Municipality of Chatham, Kent. Request of the province to amend blue box regulations for ineligible source. Councillor Young, this one's yours.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. So currently, this resolution, the province right now to amend the blue box regulations so that producers are responsible for end-of-life management of recycling from all sources, and that's what this resolution supports. Currently, right now, there's ineligible sources, which could include businesses, a possible BIA area where there's mixed uses, where there'd be commercial on the bottom and residential on the top. Places of worship, daycares, public-facing municipal-owned buildings, and not various not-for-profit organizations. Responsibility, including collection, transportation, and processing, may become the responsibility of the municipality unless they could transfer the costs perhaps to a private contractor. So the municipalities each have a different transfer date. Ours, I talked to Matthew about this, is January 1st, 2025. So I'd like to support.
Uh-oh.
Not sure.
Talk too long.
You broke it, Trace.
Jeez, Tracy.
Oh, well. Shall we carry on anyway?
I thought this new, it looks like we've lost internet, so.
Okay. So you're supporting this
I'd like
resolution?
to support it, but I also think that it's something that we have to think about as well about with respect to the ineligible sources, whether the town's going to pick that up or they're going to ask for the ineligible sources to look after it themselves. So yeah, it's definitely something for us to think about before January 2025.
Councillor Young, what are the ineligible sources?
So it said it could be like a mixed use property. So like downtown, when you have a commercial business on the ground floor
Yeah.
and you have residential upstairs. So right now, all residential qualifies.
Oh, I see.
But the businesses, places of worship, daycares, nursing homes. And, you know, some of those now do look after, have their own private contractors, but some don't. But it's just something, if they made everybody eligible, it would make it a lot easier.
They're gonna miss your whole thing. Okay, so, I'm still just, I'm a little bit confused. There's the blue box in here that's getting me. I'm thinking of recycling, but What are they talking about exactly?
So the Blue Box is gonna, the whole program's transitioning, right, to, end of, what's the proper?
End of life.
Yes. So the people that produce it, like the Amazons and stuff like that, they're gonna be responsible for the cost of recycling. And right now, the municipalities all have a cost, but the government supports 50%, right, Matthew?
Yep.
So the town gets 50% back for recycling costs. So if this regulation stands, there's going to be ineligible sources once we transition in January 2025, and those ineligible the municipality will either pick up the cost, or they'll have to arrange for their own private contractor to pick up their recycling. So if there was not that distinction, it would make it a whole lot easier if the manufacturers were responsible for everything and not just residential.
Okay. Questions? Councilor Fine?
Yeah, I understand what Tracy, why she's concerned about this, and I'm concerned about it as well. And she's right, for picking up a chunk of the cost of the Blue Box program right now. I don't really want to see us left hanging, holding the bag if this goes in a different route, because I doubt very seriously if we're going to send our treasurer knocking on the door of Amazon asking for a check. The likelihood of that's not happening. There doesn't seem to be any thing coming down the pipe saying, okay, who's going to be collecting all this stuff and then directing it towards the towns and the cities? And you know darn well who's going to be directing it. It's going to be the provincial government. And anything the provincial government gets their fingers in, there's a big chunk that's going to go to administration and this and that, and we're not going to get. So on the face of this, I would support it, but I would feel a lot better supporting it if I actually knew how many of these things we actually have in Prescott, that where people pick up their own garbage, for example. Somebody mentioned nursing home. Mayfield, do they just throw everything in one bin and somebody hauls it away? If they do, well, that's fine. We don't really have to worry about it ever. But do they throw it in a blue bin now and somebody comes and picks that up? There's a lot to be answered before we get to the point of this, and it's not that far down the road.
Matthew.
Oh, okay.
So currently, the rule of thumb is that if you're residential and you're not in a large building, let's say 171 King, they have to provide their own garbage and recycling to have it picked up and removed, that sort of thing. But we provide garbage and recycling curbside pickup for pretty much all other residential and exclusive of those larger buildings. So basically anything that has 7 or more units in it, we would not pick up. So we don't technically, as a rule of thumb, pick up from businesses, pick up from organizations, industrial, commercial, all of those types of things. Can't say 100% that we're not currently doing that. So for instance, the town hall puts out recycling and it gets picked up. Going forward, what they're saying is that town hall would not be allowed to, and we'd have to find a way to get rid of our own recycling. Places of worship would have to do that. Both Mayfield and Wellington House already do their own garbage and recycling. It's just due to the volume, we wouldn't be able to handle that from a curbside pickup perspective. So really that's the distinction. I clarified even today. So it's basically a consortium that will be responsible for doing a number of municipalities in the area. And they have the choice of either using the current contractor, in our case it's Limerick, or I think they'll also be issuing a tender for multiple municipalities that would, one single provider would do that. All our previous discussions have been that we don't want any to be responsible for it from a town perspective, because then we become responsible for contamination rates, for pickup rates, for all of that. And we see that as being a major issue going forward as they start to pare back those things that are recyclable and not recyclable. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. You know, when you go down King Street on a Thursday or Thursday morning, you'll see kind of recycling boxes at every single place. We don't go through and distinguish what was from the ground floor commercial versus the residential above. So I think that's where, municipalities such as Gananoque has sent a letter out to all of their commercial, industrial, and non-residential to say, this has may have happened in the past, it's not going to happen in the future. And so you need to be aware of that as you move forward. So they've issued a number of notices to their businesses, and it is something that's going to be rather difficult to manage and move forward with. But at the same time, this was a decision that was made by the province. Supposedly, the manufacturers and wholesalers and whatnot will, the idea is to pay into the consortium to offset the cost. And then it's not something that the municipality generally wants to try and move forward with, simply because there's going to be so many ways in which we could be penalized for that. So just to try and give a little bit of context, but yeah, it's going to be very difficult, especially when you have a downtown commercial core where almost every single building that we have in that area has a mixture of commercial and residential.
Yeah.
And some businesses obviously produce a lot more garbage than others. And honestly, I don't have any intention, as council decides otherwise, to change how we collect garbage. Where we currently collect from is how we will continue collecting from. And especially since if they're buying bag tags, then we would continue doing that. So, but certainly it's council's discretion, and I'm more than happy to follow as decision goes.
Councillor Kirkby?
Through you, Mayor Shankar. I believe it'll just be a tax that's pushed on to these companies to also try to reduce their packaging. That's the main goal here too, right? Is for these companies. When I worked at Procter & Gamble, the reduction on packaging was huge. From going from colored boxes to non-colored boxes and stuff like that. The outside boxes that you ship to the stores in and stuff like that was a big push to reduce. And if you didn't, there was taxes and stuff, incentives on it. Matthew, to this motion here, resolution, this would be beneficial, if I hear it correctly, to support for towns like Prescott.
From my perspective, absolutely, and especially in those mixed use buildings, where, how do you draw that line? And so unless they're a major producer where you're putting out 15 boxes of recycling, okay, I can certainly understand that. But when you have a mixed use, and our downtown core is a prime example of that, then it makes every sense that they should be eligible and be able to move forward.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion of supporting this resolution.
Through Mayor Shankar, I have a draft resolution that reads that the council of the Corporation of the Town of Prescott supports the resolution from the municipality of Chatham-Kent regarding a request to the province to amend blue box regulations for ineligible sources, and that a copy of this resolution be sent to the Honourable Doug Ford Premier, the Honourable Andrea Kijin, Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks, Steve Clark, Member of Provincial Parliament for Leeds, Granville, Thousand Islands, and Rideau Lakes, and all municipalities in Leeds and Granville.
Thank you. Will you move that, Councillor Young?
Yeah.
Seconded by Councillor Kirkby. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. All right, you did so well on that one. Got one more. Municipality of St. Charles requested an eligibility review of the physician Northern and Rural Recruitment and Retention Initiative.
I think
Is that yours?
No, we still have this one,
Hey?
Go back.
the back one.
Oh, that's what I got here.
Town development.
So,
Do you remember this one, Trace?
okay,
I thought I-
mine's not on here, so I'll read it here. Am I reading that wrong?
Do you want me to read it?
Sure, if you got it, I don't have it.
It's just a resolution requested by Councillor Young, Town of Elmer, endorsed resolution requesting that the province consider amending the Residential Tenancy Act 2006 to ensure that all tenants benefit from protections intended to preserve affordability. Continue.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Councillor Durkin. So in 2018, the government, they wanted to incentivize, that's a hard word to say. They wanted to give incentives to developers to build more purpose rental dwellings. So they had said that, let me find my words here. That as of 2018, that they were not subject to the rent control if it was new or renovated, right, units. So this resolution wants to see the rent control apply as well for those units.
Okay. Questions? Go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Shankar, I almost feel like I requested this one pulled out. But thank you, Councillor Young. I wasn't going to say anything from now. You did a very great job. And she nailed it. It's true, right? So we have two sets of rules, right? Currently operating, and this just brings equal and fairness to residents that are in rental units.
All right, resolution for me.
Through you, Mayor Shankar, that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Prescott supports the resolution from the municipality of St. Charles regarding a request for provincial consideration to amend the Residential Tenancy Act 2006, and that a copy of this resolution be sent to the Honorable Board Premier, the Honorable Paul Calandra, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the Honorable Rob Black, Associate Minister of Housing, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, and all municipalities in Leeds and Grenville.
Will you move that, Councillor Young?
Yes.
Second that, yes. All in favor? Carried, thank you. All right. Now we're moving on to notices of motion, and I think you have one. We're just gonna read this motion tonight, and then we'll bring it back for consideration next. Yep.
Great, thank you. So tonight before you, I have a motion. It's a request for eligibility review of physician Northern and Rural Recruitment and Retention Initiative. Whereas the objective of the Rural Recruitment and Retention Initiative, NRRRI, is to attract physicians to establish a full-time practice in eligible underserviced communities. And whereas the NRRRI offers taxable financial recruitment incentives to each eligible physician who establishes a full-time practice in eligible communities of the province by providing grants that range between $84,718 and $124,730,000 paid over a 4-year period. And whereas physicians are entitled to receive only one NRRRI grant per career, and whereas the community eligibility for these grants is based on the tongue twister. I practiced this earlier. Rurality Index for Ontario, RIO score, and which is assigned to Statistics Canada Census subdivisions, which is a measure of the rural utility that ensures funding is specifically targeted to northern and very rural communities. And whereas the RIO 2008 basic score is diverted from three factors: population, count and density, travel time to basic referral center, and travel time to an advanced referral central. And whereas the municipalities of the town of Prescott, the township of Augusta, and the township of Edwardsburg and Cardinal are not eligible for the Northern and Rural Recruitment and Retention Initiative, despite the combined population of 18,969 and a density of 30 residents per square kilometer. And whereas the newly adopted 2024-2027 strategic plan for the town of Prescott prioritizes advocacy for recruitment of additional medical, mental addictions, and health practitioners. Now therefore be it resolved that the council of the town of Prescott requests the province to revisit the eligibility criteria for the physician, northern and rural recruitment and retention initiative to attract physicians to establish a full-time practice in eligible underserviced communities to better reflect the need for support for physicians in rural municipalities. This copy of this resolution be sent to the Honorable Doug Ford, the Honorable Sylvia Jones, Deputy Minister of Health, Steve Clark, Member of Provincial Parliament for Leeds and Grenville, Thousand Islands and Rideau Lakes, the Associations of Municipalities of Ontario, Prescott Family Health Team, and all municipalities in Leeds and Grenville. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions on that one? Oh, sorry, there is no questions. Move on. So will we get a copy of that? Because that's not in our package, right? Okay, perfect. Great, thank you. Want to read this proclamation?
It'll be the last.
Item 17.1 is a proclamation for Be a Donor Month Green Shirt Day. I think Councillor McConnell's way ahead of us.
That's why I wore it.
Man. Whereas on April 7th, 2018, a young Canadian named Logan Boulay became an organ donor in the aftermath of the tragic Humboldt Bronco bus crash, which resulted in Logan saving the lives of 6 other people and inspiring 100,000 Canadians to register as an organ and tissue donors that month. And whereas registering to be an organ and tissue donor can help save the lives of nearly 1,400 people waiting for a life-saving organ transplant in Ontario. And whereas one organ and tissue donor can save up to 8 lives and improve the life and health of up to 75 other people. And whereas the family of Logan Boulay, carrying on Logan's legacy of recognizing April 7th as Green Shirt Day, to raise awareness of the need for registered organ and tissue donors so that the access to life-saving and life-transforming transplants can be improved. And whereas the month of April is #Be a Donor Month in Ontario, and whereas Ontario Health is asking municipalities to draw attention to the need of organ and tissue donation and encouraging Ontarians to register their consent to organ and tissue donation. Therefore, the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Prescott does hereby proclaim April as #Be a Donor Month and designate April 7th, 2024 as Green Shirt Day to inspire organ donor registration in the town of Prescott. Dated this day, 2nd of April, 2024. Okay, any media? No media, you two? All right, so we're going to move into a closed session. So a recommended motion reads that council move into closed session at 7:50 PM to discuss matters pertaining to closed session minutes and an identifiable individual. Under section 239(2)B of the Municipal Act, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and that the CAO, treasurer, and clerk remain in the room. Can I have a mover and seconder? Councillor Lockett, Councillor McConnell, and any discussion on that? All in favor? Good. We'll take a quick break and then we'll go right into it.